forget this class, right? Because we're always talking about this class. Let's look into a little crystal ball, shall we? Any upcoming draft, either next year or the year after that, who's a guy you're looking at right now, whether he's a freshman, a sophomore, even a junior that, may be under the radar, you're looking at going, next year, this kid's going to put everyone on notice, and he's going to be an automatic, maybe not a lottery, but a mid to late first-round pick, and everyone's going to be sleeping on him?
Oh, man.
Gotta give you the hard questions, man. Someone's got
No, it's okay. I think there's a
It's
lot
not a
of
hard
good running
question.
backs.
What do you mean?
It has nothing to do with the conversation that we have. The draft
It's
is
a
now.
draft!
Yeah, we're not talking about next year or the year after.
You
We're
don't
talking
think
about
people-
now. No, this has nothing to do with
Ignore him.
We
See,
can
this
talk-
is why he's crazy. Ignore him.
I'm crazy. You're the crazy, stupid
Right.
one.
That's why
Anyways,
people trade back
go
and they
ahead.
get next year's first
You know
round
what?
or second round
Why
pick.
don't you go back to the bathroom and sit on a can? Because
I would love to.
That's all you want.
That's where my
Let's go.
piece is.
Sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead,
It's
Jason.
okay. I think a lot of times that running back is being devalued at this point, not seeing it in the first round. So for first round, Tank Bigsby out of Auburn, that's one I'm really intrigued by. I think that kid has it all. And then there's two wide receivers that you guys have to keep your eyes on. One we already saw, Jackson Smith and then Jigba out of Ohio State just went off. And Keyshawn Butte, who got injured, but man, those two are going to battle out for the wide receiver one status when it comes to next year's draft. Those two guys I am highly intrigued by. And a lot of times, when we talk about these prospects, we're not GMs. Everybody cares about fantasy. That's really what it's all about. And those two guys and Tank Bigsby are ones that I'm really high on.
As you guys know, we are talking to Devi Watch football prospect evaluator and writer, Jason DiRienzo. Jason, obviously we're here in New York, and the Jets and the Giants, they're going to have both of them are going to have 2 top 10 picks. I've never seen this before. I don't think this has ever happened in New York Giants, New York Jets history, that both New York teams are drafting in the top 10. A lot of people say that this isn't the type of draft to draft in the top 10 any way, shape, or form. I beg to differ. I think there's a lot of great talent. When you look at the Jets right now, if the season were to end, the Jets are drafting at 4 and 7, and the Giants would be drafting at 5 and 8. Where do both teams go at those positions?
Whew. Man, the Giants, anywhere. They have so many holes. I don't even know where to freaking start. Right now, it all comes down to what they do with Daniel Jones. Obviously, you got to try to protect your quarterback. I think protection is going to be key. An offensive lineman would definitely be great for them. They need offensive weapons, too. Kenny Galladay, who they signed for $70 million, never even scored a touchdown this season. Yeah. They couldn't keep any of their receivers healthy. Saquon Barkley injured. Hopefully he comes back and he's healthy. They need help on defense, so they could go any number of those spots. The Jets, I feel a little bit more comfortable about. That offensive line looked pretty solid. I like the Elijah Moore pick that they had. Zach Wilson. I'm never going to judge a quarterback in their first year. No way. Zach Wilson, I wasn't really high on, but again, I got to give him time to figure it out. Even my guy Justin Fields, who I really liked, had a horrible season. That's just how it goes. Trevor Lawrence, look at him. Good Lord, he looked terrible. Just remember Peyton Manning's first rookie season, guys, and then it just kind of lets you just play it out.
Out of all 3 quarterbacks in the last couple of weeks, who's looked the best? Zach Wilson. Zach
Wilson has looked the best.
Yes,
I gotta agree.
He has.
Mac Jones. Mac Jones.
No, we're not talking about Mac Jones.
Yeah.
Mac Jones.
He's on a different level.
Yes, he's on a different level. He's playing with a coach that actually uses him in an offense that is very simplified. And I think if Zach Wilson was playing in that offense, it would be simplified. Justin Fields, it would be simplified. So yes, Mac Jones has been the best quarterback out of the bunch, but he's also playing with arguably the greatest coach of all time and arguably with one of the best running games, if not the best running game in all of football. So, again, you look at the advantages to have when you have a team like the Patriots. You can't really say, well, it's all Mac Jones. Mac Jones hasn't thrown more than 15 yards in a game. What did he do? He threw that the last game that I watched the full game with Mac Jones, he threw how many 15-yard passes against the Patriots? Against the Colts. I think maybe 3 in the whole game. So he doesn't throw a lot, and when he does throw, he's accurate. So there's nothing bad to say about Mac Jones, and he's a rookie of the year candidate. I'm sorry, Jason.
No, it's okay. See, I'm glad you brought that up because landing spot is key.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. Mm-hmm. He landed in the perfect spot. They wanted him. It's the perfect mesh. To answer your question, I think defense would be good for the Jets at this point. They could look in free agency for some offensive help, but that Elijah Moore pick really helps solidify some things. Maybe Corey Davis can show something when he's healthy, but they also need a running back. Getting that run game going, that defines who the Jets are. That's old school Jets football, is running the ball. They need to find that running back, and they may find one in the draft with Kenneth Walker, Breece Hall, Isaiah Spiller, one of these guys. We'll see. They're not going to go in the first round, so there's going to be plenty of running backs to pick in day 2 and day 3 that they can snag. So, but I would say defense. If you're going to pick that high, go with some of the blue chip players.
So obviously, you being a Bears fan, you got to watch Justin Fields really get exposed badly by a bad offensive line and some god-awful coaching this year. I've always said that I think, being that he worked well with mobile quarterbacks and especially with Lamar Jackson, now Greg Roman would be a good fit as their head coach. And he's even done it with some of the backups this year when Lamar was hurt. So what would you think of that kind of hire? Or is there a hire that you would prefer for the Bears for Justin Fields' development?
I like that a lot. I would love if Roman was over there. I don't know right now. I haven't really got a chance to look at the landscape. I don't like this Harbaugh talk. I've seen this story too many times. I don't want it. He needs to stay in college, do his thing. I mean, I just saw him completely not know how to adjust the game plan, in the college football playoffs, because once they took away the run game and he couldn't control the clock anymore using Hassan Haskins and Blake Corum, he fell apart. Well, that's exactly what's happening with Nagy. He doesn't know how to change things that are happening in the game in order to make things work. So please, no Harbaugh. But yeah, I don't really know yet who I'd feel comfortable with, but I like that call with Roman. That'd be great.
So now, since I got yelled at about bringing up the future draft classes, we'll stick in this one, okay? So now...
Right. Dude, he's barely done any research on this year's draft. Why is he going to go for the next 3 years?
He watches college football.
Bring it. Let's do this.
Never mind. I guess you don't want hard questions. I'm sorry. I never thought of asking the draft analyst
what do you got?
about drafts.
I want to hear it.
You sure you wiped your ass?
What?
You sure you wiped your ass?
Oh, we have to do that?
I
thought that's what kills COVID.
I don't want to smell you, man. That's for damn sure.
Oh. Are you done?
I'm done. Go ahead.
Positive?
I'm positive.
Oh, thank you. So anyway.
Not HIV positive, but positive.
Oh, I thought you were COVID positive.
No, I'm not, because I wouldn't be here right now.
You would be here.
No, I wouldn't.
This is your house.
This is my studio. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Right. So you'd be here.
Shut up. Just
Thank
ask
you.
the question.
I completely lost where I was going with this. So anyway, being that, we are a few months away from the draft, have you had a mock draft yet?
No, as a matter of fact, that's a great question. I stopped doing mock drafts. I think they're stupid. I really do.
Oh, well, then there goes my freaking question. Okay.
No,
it's all right. I was going to ask for your first 10 picks.
I understand the process of them, but the 1 year I was doing mock drafts, I was changing it like every
hourly
10 days. It felt like I got annoyed. I was like, this is stupid. I'm just going to tier these guys out. And ranking is stupid also, by the way. So tiering is the way to go. And no way can you say one guy is going to play better than the other. We've seen how this plays out. So just put a bunch of guys in one tier that you feel like can do something, and that's how I do it. But to answer your question, no.
How many tiers do you have?
And I don't plan to.
How many tiers do you have, he asked, Jason?
I'll tell you what. So we really focus on offensive players the most. So right now I have 5 different tiers when it comes to the draft. And honestly, we're tiering all the way through college football through every single year right now. And it's easy to tier when it comes to Ohio State receivers because they have a ton of guys and a ton of talent on that team.
By the way, I just want to say RJ Barrett hit an unbelievable 3-pointer that made the Knicks win the game. So game-winning jumper. But anyways, we are talking to Devi Watch, football prospect evaluator and writer, Jason DiRienzo. So, Jason, there's a couple of guys that watch our show and listen to our show. They're writing to us. So I want to go over a couple of things that they have said. Carl he wants to know your opinion about Daxton Hill. Is he the number 2 safety prospect in this year's draft? That's one. And number 2, Josh Silverberg, a.k.a. Deuce. Well, when we say Deuce, he likes to ask multiple questions. But his one question for you is, you were talking about running back for the New York Jets. He says, have you watched the Jets? Have you watched Michael Carter Jr.? So that was another thing that he said about Michael Carter Jr. So what is your thoughts to Michael Carter Jr. and why you think the Jets need to go after another running back? That's what he's saying. And I think they need a power back. That's what I think the Jets need, not just Michael Carter. And where do you see Daxton Hill as a safety in this year's draft?
Right now I do have him number 2. I have Notre Dame's Kyle Hamilton number 1, and that's a pretty easy one for me. That kid, Kyle Hamilton's just dominant. But Daxton Hill playing in that last game was huge. Michigan needed him to play, and they needed him to play because Brock Bowers, the tight end for Georgia, was a big-time playmaker and the number 1 basically receiver for Georgia. He gave up one big score that I saw, or one big catch, but Daxton Hill did a solid job, and I like his prospects. So right now he is number 2 for me, and I got Kyle Hamilton number 1. To move on to Michael Carter, I loved Michael Carter coming out of North Carolina. That kid is explosive. The only problem I have with him is he just doesn't have the play strength that Javonte Williams had, because those two were side by side. But I like the vision. I like the instincts. He's a great pass catcher, and he needs to be used that way. Use him as the pass catcher that he is. But they do need a power back. I think you need a lightning and you need a thunder. Michael Carter could be the lightning. They just need to add that thunder, and I think they'll be solid. Kind of like the Mike Allstott, Warwick Dunn back in the day combination. I'd really like to see
Who's
that
the thunder? Who would you say the Jets need to look at? Who would be the addition of thunder on the New York Jets?
Oh, man. Hassan Haskins is really interesting to me when I watched him play at Michigan, because I'm trying to think of where the Jets might be looking for a running back, and I don't think they're going to be looking too early. But Hassan Haskins is one. He's got great size, good contact balance. Isaiah Spiller out of Texas A&M is another guy that has great size. I like the way he runs, played good against some SEC teams. So those two are ones that really come to mind, but I just got to think that they're probably not looking too early. So Hassan Haskins, I think that might be the thunder that they may be looking for.
So one fascinating thing now in the NFL, and we're seeing a little bit more in college football as well, is hybrid players. A lot of running back receiver hybrids, receiver tight ends. We were talking about Kyle Pitts in this draft. Like, where does he play? And even on defense, too. Somebody like Isaiah Simmons, who could play slot corner. He could play all linebacker spots, safeties. Do you think this could be a modern trend that becomes more of a norm in the NFL and even in college football? And if so, like, how long do you think it'll take?
I don't think it's going to take long. I mean, it's a copycat league, right? So when you see guys like Darren Waller that can, transform into what he is, they're going to want to do that. So I don't think it's going to take long at all. It's an explosive type of position. It's a positional advantage to have a tight end that can play the way that you want a tight end to play. So, there's not too many of them. Michael Mayer out of Notre Dame is a highly regarded recruit. Him and Brock Bowers are the only ones I truly care about when it comes to, football and, what the outcome may be. There's a couple prospects in this draft, but I'm not too high on them. Jake Ferguson out of Wisconsin's a sleeper for me. I think that he might be able to turn into something. He's got good athleticism, has a pedigree, but the tight end position is just not one that I'm thrilled with. It's hard to evaluate, and it's all about landing spot. If a team doesn't use tight end, then it's really not going to matter. And when we watched Darren Waller, even he had 20 targets in that week 1, and then we didn't really see much of him. You had to feel pretty good about having him on your fantasy team, and then he was gone. So usage is key, and to me, it's Travis Kelce. I want a team that's going to use the tight end that way.